Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm Darren McBreen. It is March 12th, 2015. Here's a quick look what's coming up.
Tonight, 2 officers are critically wounded in Ferguson gunfire. Then, a closer look into the smearing of alternative media and the desire for war without limitation. That's next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
If you just ask Christ to come into your heart, come into your soul, and show you the truth, and empower you and open your mind, if you say that with free will, God will give you a choice.
2 police officers have been seriously injured after 2 shots were fired during a protest last night right outside the Ferguson Police Department. Now, this happened just after midnight following the announcement that Ferguson Police Chief Thomas Jackson is going to resign. In video footage that captures the moments before and after the shooting, you can actually hear the officers screaming in agony as they are struck by the bullets. Here's David Knight earlier today on the Alex Jones Show.
There was a shooting of 2 police officers. Let's go to that video.
Acknowledgement 9 months ago would have kept that from happening.
Now, details are still coming in. There have been some reports that the shots were fired from the top of a hill and not from the crowd itself. This coming from people who were actually there at the time. Now, one officer was hit in the shoulder and the other got shot in the face. The bullet lodged near his ear after it passed through his cheek. Doesn't sound like any kind of fun. So a cowardly ambush indeed. There is obviously a massive manhunt underway to catch the suspects right now. And this, of course, after months of violence and racial tension in Ferguson. And you could bet the mainstream media is going to focus on this big time. And that's because this has the potential to divide us. I mean, that's what they want to do. They want to racially divide us. And this could very well start a race war. And of course, there are plenty of other examples of police brutality, police corruption, and even executions by the police. But the mainstream media, and I'm talking both left and right, that means Fox News and MSNBC, they're not going to cover that. They want to focus on Ferguson. And that is because Michael Brown is the perfect poster child for a potential race war. Now, let's hope it never comes to that. I mean, now more than ever, we all need to be united and not divided. Now, wouldn't you know it, civil rights leaders are already blaming the double cop shooting in Ferguson on outside agitators. And, well, I can understand that. Hell, they might be right. I mean, it looks like the shots came from the top of a hill or in an attic or perhaps a sniper shot from the top of a house. They didn't come from the crowd itself who were protesting at the time. I mean, there is a chance, you got to admit, that this was a false flag hit job to further tensions between the black community and the police. There, I said it. Some of you are waiting for it. Now there it is. You know, I could see the comments right now. Why does InfoWars always have to say that everything was an inside job? As if the federal government never used false flag terror attacks like snipers on top of rooftops, for example, like they did in Operation Gladio, to destabilize a region. I mean, this could be very well what's happening in Ferguson right now. I'm just saying. And we know that the federal government and the Obama administration, well, they can use this crisis to further divide the nation. I think they'd like nothing more than to have a race war. It gives them more power and the ability to divide and conquer. So watch out. Not everything is, pun intended, black and white.
used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients, extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules. You will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit AncientDefense.com or call 888-253-3139. AncientDefense.com.
Welcome back to the InfoWars Nightly News. Hey, what do you think about wellness checks? Operation Vigilant Guard. Well, Rob Dew has evidence that wellness checks is really a special code for gun confiscation.
Rob Dew reporting for Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv, and Infowars Nightly News. On Monday, I reported on an activist Post article that was detailing some exercises that were going on as part of Operation Vigilant Guard 2015, where the South Carolina National Guard was going door to door conducting wellness checks. We actually have video of them doing these checks, and here's what they said in their own words was the reason for conducting these checks.
In this scenario, what we have is this is the aftermath of a hurricane has come and struck us, and upon an evacuation notice, the subdivision of Overton, the residents chose not to leave, so we are doing a door-to-door wellness check.
So he explains that the reason for the wellness checks is that people did not heed the government's warning to evacuate. And this is the same thing we saw in Hurricane Katrina. Remember the chief of police and his warning?
Guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
Sometimes entering open houses with guns drawn and instructions to disarm anyone inside.
And it wasn't just the police going around confiscating guns, it was also the National Guard doing wellness checks.
Residents were handcuffed on the ground. In the end, police took their weapons but let them stay in their homes.
They were a little bit threatened because our weapons were bigger than their weapons.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Walking up and down these streets, you don't want to think about the stuff that you're going to have to do if somebody pops around the corner.
Be shooting in America.
Yeah.
Nazi Germany, Cuba, People's Republic of China, North Korea, yes, but not America. Not America.
Heed the warning of what this was. This is like Australia. All of a sudden, boom, they got our rights.
This isn't freedom. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
And the story doesn't end there. In 2012, we got a call from a member of the National Guard 45th Infantry Brigade out of Norman, Oklahoma, and he had this to say about the gun confiscation operations he participated in right after Hurricane Katrina.
I was with the 45th Infantry Brigade, Delta Company 1st of the 279, 2nd Platoon. During Hurricane Katrina, I've always wanted to get a hold of you guys and kind of get the word out there for those that still have that slight hesitation in the back of their head that gun confiscation can't and won't happen here. It already has. And I was only 21 years old, just really gung-ho, really dedicated to the Army, especially to the infantry. And I did whatever I was told. Let's see, the first thing we did was we got a 3-week, a book full of 3-week-old 911 phone calls, right? And then we had to go around and answering all the phone calls. So we were like cadaver dogs for about 3 weeks. And in between them, we would run night missions. And here's the thing. A lot of people may think that they'll see this on the news or they'll have time to get ready when the crap hits the fan or whatever. It's just, it's a truck, you know what I mean? It's a group of trucks. They pull up, they stack right on your home, as we did, and we broke entry. Yeah, we would yell out, Oklahoma Army National Guard, is anybody in need of assistance? But that's as we were booting in the door. Well, we had a couple of people resist verbally, and they got stuffed and cuffed very violently. We'd throw them in the back of the 5-ton or the deuce and a half or whatever, and then we'd take them out to the Greyhound bus station, which was the police station at the time.
And here's another bit of evidence. From 2009, Alex Jones interviewing a Lieutenant Colonel Haptwood out of Iowa, detailing the gun confiscation operations they were running as part of a drill, of course.
Guardsmen to conduct urban training at Arcadia in April. This is going on scaled back now. It says in this article, going door to door asking if they can search homes looking for weapons. And they practice raiding the local gun shop. Lieutenant Colonel, I really appreciate you coming on such short notice, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
You bet. I saw this article out of the Daily Times Herald in Carroll, Iowa. Have you seen that?
I sure have.
And it's telling us about an urban warfare drill to be held in several towns. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. It's actually a planned training event to provide our soldiers with greater proficiency at what we call cordon and search, which is a mission that, just for a little background, we've deployed nearly 13,000 members of the Iowa National Guard in the global war on terror. And the vast majority of those have been in Iraq and Afghanistan. And one of the missions that they perform in Iraq and Afghanistan on multiple occasions is cordon and search, where basically you are trying to get to an area, cordon it off to make sure everything's safe, and then actually search for caches of weapons or other kinds of contraband which could harm American forces and other
like Fallujah, what we saw in Fallujah.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Exactly. So because of where we're located in Iowa, there are no active duty bases in Iowa, so we kind of have to create our own urban training environments. So the plan on this particular training event was to actually use a small town of about 450 people. The town has actually kind of adopted the unit, which is called Company A, 1st Battalion, 168th Infantry, and they were more than willing to participate in the exercise.
Going through this article, I mean, explaining exactly what they're going to do door to door with the houses, what the checkpoints are going to be simulating.
Sure. When you're talking about cordon and search operations, you've got several different rings of security that you've got to provide in a particular area. And then it's important that people are treated respectfully as you go house to house, as you're looking for certain items, particularly in our experience in Afghanistan and Iraq, looking for weapon caches, whether those have AK-47s, RPGs, rocket propelled grenades, that is, any kind of ammunition or any kind of improvised explosive devices, et cetera, et cetera. And our job when we go on a cordon search is to locate those kinds of items. And then there might also be persons of interest that we're interested in that coalition forces want to talk to or apprehend.
Well, let's just boil it down to this. I have video of Army and Marines with role players screaming, "I'm an American, please don't put me in the camp," and the military training to confiscate their firearms. I mean, certainly you've heard the Army Times and the new directive from Secretary of Defense Robert Gates that they will use the National Guard under federal control for civil insurrection. Are you saying you're not aware of that?
No, I'm certainly aware of that, absolutely. But I think you have to look at the role of the National Guard historically. Is that historically we are used in states for disasters overwhelmingly. And our job is to, number one, be ready for our mission federally, which is to go to war. And number two is to help our fellow citizens here in the United States of America. Those
But
are
the Army
things that we prepare for and train for.
The Army War College 3 weeks ago issued a report saying they're shifting a lot of their focus to engaging the American people and directives on engagement with the American people under NORTHCOM.
Well, you got to remember that the National Guard, 99% of the time, is if you're talking about peacetime, belongs to the state in which they are located. Only on occasion do they become federalized. One of those examples, of course, is being mobilized and deployed to go to war or peacekeeping or other kinds of federalized missions. But other than that, the National Guard generally in peacetime belongs to the governor of that state.
And then in 2010, I went to cover the Operation Vigilant Guard exercises going on in Chicago, Illinois, and they were conducting drills like meth lab takedown and terror drills where gun-wielding terrorists were taken hostage and had chemical weapons. But here's the kicker. They had Polish troops actually there supposedly observing the activities that were going on, but we in fact filmed the Polish troops participating in these exercises who helped take out the terrorists and then round up the hostages and run them through a decontamination unit.
Everybody on the ground! Get on the ground underneath! Everybody on the ground, on the ground! Put your hands on your face! On the ground, on the ground! On your face!
The day after we shot this footage, we interviewed Jose Santiago, who is the executive director of the Office of Emergency Management for Chicago. And he flat out lied and said that the Polish troops were only observing, they were not participating in any way. Today we were at an exercise, some Polish military were involved in the exercise. Is that going to be the same with this exercise?
Right now, with the Polish folks that were involved in this particular exercise, they were there as observers. They were visiting the country, and they are one of our sister cities that we go ahead and we train with all the time. So they came in and they were observing and watching how we handle our stuff, and then sharing information back and forth of what happens in Europe as opposed to what happens in America.
Okay. But are they going to be involved in this particular exercise today or no? Observing?
No, just observing.
Notice we asked him twice, and he clarified that no way were they participating in any of these events. So put all this together. We have the National Guard actively conducting gun confiscation exercises on American soil. We also have them actively doing it after natural disasters. But now, due to the pushback from organizations like InfoWars and other alternative media outlets, they don't say gun confiscation exercises anymore. They're conducting wellness checks. They're just going to make sure you're okay.
Upon an evacuation notice, the subdivision of Overton, the residents chose not to leave. So we are doing a door-to-door wellness check.
Now, I have nothing against the troops out there participating in these exercises. They're following orders, right? But it's important to educate them on the fact that when they say they're conducting wellness checks, this is a euphemism and code for gun confiscation. Just remember that next time you're asked to either carry out these orders or you're being one of the victims of these illegal orders. Remember, you have to stand up at this time and stand up while they're conducting these drills before it happens in real time because you might not have a leg to stand on. This is Rob Dew reporting for NoWorldOrder.com and InfoWars Nightly News. If you like reports like these, please consider becoming a member of PrisonPlanet.tv. It supports everything we do here, and your membership can be shared with up to 20 people at the same time. That's 20 InfoWarriors for the price of one, so please consider becoming a member today. Thank you.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the Info War at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
A major survey has revealed that American confidence in all 3 branches of government has reached record lows. The 2014 General Social Survey has mined the political climate for 40 years. Their studies now show that only 23% of Americans have a great deal of confidence in the Supreme Court, a meager 11% in the executive branch, and a pitifully dismal 5% in Congress. American confidence in the Supreme Court is reaching a record 40-year low. 2 in 10 have zero confidence in the Supreme Court. Just 3% of Republicans have confidence in the president, while Democrats have dropped from 25% in 2010 to 18% in 2014. And Congress, well, Congress is a sick joke to most Americans.
A very, very sad day when we have to make a Hobson's choice of either funding our national security or standing for the Constitution.
Confidence was almost non-existent, with 7% of Democrats, 5% of independents, and 3% of Republicans with a great deal of confidence.
First of all, any conversation I have with these senators or Senator Mendez or anyone else, I do my best to make them private. If that's how they're initiated, that's how they should stay. Senator Menendez has done a stalwart job as chair of the committee, and as far as I'm concerned, he's been an outstanding senator.
45 years ago, 25% of Americans expressed a great deal of confidence in the press. Now, 7% of Americans have confidence, while 44% have no confidence at all. And 1 American in 10 has confidence in television. A recent Gallup poll named government as the #1 problem in the United States, with the economy in general a close second, unemployment and jobs, immigration, healthcare, terrorism at 6. America's frustration with our backdoor dealing entitled and detached elected leaders is fast approaching the breaking point. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
Introducing Secret 12, the new InfoWars Life vitamin B12 formulation. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. That's why for real results, so many are having to turn to painful B12 injections, which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Hey, if you don't know who David Cross is, chances are you will recognize him from his movie and television career as a very funny comedian and actor. Most of us have seen him in TV sitcoms like Arrested Development or Mr. Show. He's made appearances on Modern Family, plus movies like Scary Movie 2. I mean, who can ever forget this scene?
By giving you...
Hey, wait, whoa! Hey, I don't need your help, okay, lady? I can do it myself.
So now you know who I'm talking about. Very funny guy. Most of us here at InfoWars appreciate his work and we like his comedy. And that's why we were all very disappointed to learn that he created a character for his new film, which he wrote and directed. It's called Hits. And you can actually rent the movie online at hitsfilm.com. And in the movie, the main character goes off on a racist rampage during a town hall meeting because he's been brainwashed by Alex Jones.
That is quite enough.
And it's because you are taking marching orders from Barack Obama, that socialist nigger in the White House. Yes, you are. You are being bullied by him.
So there you go. The character, in a sudden fit of anger, calls President Barack Obama a socialist N-word. Then he says that the federal government is run by the Jews. And next, he says that it's all true because he heard it on the Alex Jones show. This as he's being escorted out of the building by the police.
All the liberal Jew-run media and their enablers,
Dave,
they are authorizing the corporate elite in this country.
Dave, don't make...
I heard that on Alex Jones, so it's true.
Dave...
I heard it on Alex Jones, so I know it's true.
Remove
You're the fault, Miss Caserta. You will hear me.
Now, David Cross has obviously been out there promoting his film, and in every interview that I've been able to find on the internet, he says that his character, Dave, from the film, is easily influenced by Fox News and the Alex Jones show. Here's a review from seriousfilm.blogspot.com where it says, Hits is about an anti-government crank. Boy, they sure love that word anti-government, don't they? Who's played by Matt Walsh, who becomes a folk hero when his libertarian rants go viral, but who blows it when he lets loose with a racist tirade just as he's captured the spotlight. He goes on to say that his frustration leads him to open the door for the likes of Alex Jones and Sean Hannity to take over his brain. Also, in an interview with the Washington Post, David Cross says that the character is easily influenced. He watches Fox News and listens to Alex Jones. If you look on his desk, he has a book called The Rape of the Taxpayer, and the Turner Diaries. It's all that libertarian, right-wing, bordering on conspiracy theory stuff. That's what David Cross said in the interview with the Washington Post. That's right, and if you don't support President Barack Obama, that obviously makes you a racist, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Here's Alex Jones from the show yesterday as he called in from vacation to discuss this with David Knight.
It's so hurtful for me being a David Cross fan, watching him on Mr. Show and Portlandia and things over the years. And it is so painful, absolutely painful, to see him, the director and the writer of this film that we're going to be talking about when we come back. They did this because I'm addressing the fact that the so-called liberal establishment are a bunch of warmongering, NSA-loving, power-grabbing insurance company criminals with Obamacare and the rest of it. That the Democratic leadership fascistically works with the Republican leadership to screw this country over by the very same bankers looting Greece and Portugal and Brazil and Nigeria and Ireland and everywhere else. And we're coming together globally with solidarity for real freedom and true liberalism like Thomas Jefferson promoted. The liberalism of teaching women how to use guns and protect themselves. The liberalism of letting you keep more of your money. The liberalism of having sovereignty and honoring and loving humanity. Not loving all this tyranny. You are a bunch of fashionable fops, a bunch of fake, trendy liberals who aren't liberals at all. You're a bunch of totalitarians promoting anti-speech laws and every other form of garbage. You want to run everybody's lives and bully everyone. You're having to resort to lying about people like me that are real liberals compared to propagandists like you.
Well, you can see there that obviously Alex Jones was a fan of David Cross as well. And it's a shame, you know, to see these guys, these liberals in Hollywood, to either distort the truth or have a totally disillusioned view of the liberty movement. I mean, just look at that clip we showed you of the town hall meeting from the movie, for example. Not very realistic, in my opinion, and I have never heard a libertarian use the N-word under any circumstances, much less in front of the city council. But, you know, it got me thinking of the times that I've seen Alex Jones in town hall meetings, and he never acted anything like the character in the film.
Now, I believe this council is made up of good people, and I think it's great that Jackie Goodman, Mayor Pro Tem, has brought this forward. Now, I'm sure you heard about 5 years ago about the FBI crime lab. The head of it, Dr. Frederick Whitehurst, who I've interviewed several times, said, I'm not doing this anymore. We've been framing people, manufacturing evidence. This is out of control. I've interviewed FBI agent Tyrone Powers, who talked about how they would frame people, the different criminal things that they would do. Tulia, Texas, 56 black people, no criminal record, no drug paraphernalia, no nothing. On the word of one corrupt cop, gave them all 20 to 90 years in prison. Now you think about that. Houston Crime Lab, thousands framed indiscriminately. The police chief had to admit it because his job's on the line. He's claiming, oh, I'm going to fix that problem. So this is why we restrict the scope and size of government and its power over us in our lives. Because we know there's criminals on the street, we know there's bad people, but they don't have the massive mechanisms, the machinery of government and military and militarized police and prison complexes to oppress at levels never before seen. I challenge members of this distinguished body to be part of history, to not abstain, to get out on the field in your life, and you'll truly be alive. To not sell out to this corrupt system. You know, I spoke right before Ron Paul just a few weeks ago, right outside Austin. He talked about how his poll numbers just go up and up and up, and the support just gets greater and greater and greater as he resists all of this, and as he says no to this, and as he throws the lobbyist out of his office. The truth is, when the whole world's sold out, you guys are going to get more power out of not going with the system. This thing is in terminal velocity. This thing is falling down around itself. The corruption.
Now that's how it's done right there. And as long as we're talking about city council meetings, I want to show you another example that wasn't scripted by Hollywood. This is from a former Marine Corps colonel who was stationed in Fallujah and trained Iraqi soldiers. And he is warning us all that the Department of Homeland Security is building a domestic army.
What's happening here is we're building a domestic military because it's unlawful or unconstitutional to use American troops on American soil. So what we're doing is we're building a military. And so what we're doing here, and let's not kid about it, we're building a domestic army and we're shrinking the military because the government is afraid of its own citizens. We're building an army over here, and I can't believe that people aren't seeing it. Is everybody blind? That's all. I'll take it.
So as you can see right there, these city council and town hall meetings are often very, very important. After all, it's because of meetings like these that we've been able to successfully remove dangerous water supplies from various towns and communities across the country. I mean, we've got a lot more work to do, but hell, it's a good start. And even if you don't succeed, at least it's on the public record, and it gets people to think about your cause. I mean, it educates people and challenges the council members to do the right thing. And it forces them to make a moral decision as well. And in the process, you can even find out which one of the council members are in bed with corporate interest. I remember back during the fluoride battle here in Austin, Texas, it wasn't the scientists or the medical professionals or the citizens against fluoridated water who acted like fools. No, it was the former mayor of Austin, Texas himself, who not only sided against removing the poisonous toxins from our water supply, but he graciously gave us his middle finger in the process. Classy guy. Once again, reminding us about the character of the onslaught against us. Now, speaking of character, David Cross says that the main character in his film Hits is actually a good and decent man, but who's been influenced by right-wing hate speech and the conservative media. Well, I'd like to think the same thing of David Cross. I mean, deep down, he's probably a decent guy. Sure, shit is funny. I mean, I'd have a beer with him. But unfortunately, he's the one who's been influenced by the left-wing liberal media, not to mention the most corrupt presidential administration in the history of our country. That's right, even more corrupt than Johnson or Nixon or Clinton or even Bush. And I was thinking that, you know, back when George W. was president, do you know that people back then, they used to actually accuse Alex Jones of being a crazy liberal? And now that Obama is in office, he's suddenly become this crazy right-wing extremist. Funny how that works. So enough already with the false left versus right paradigm. Both parties are corrupt to the core. They have been for some time, and, they are controlled. They're bought and paid for by the global banking cartels and the military-industrial complex. So wake up, Mr. Cross. I'm not sure if you're really from Hollywood. I think you, my friend, you are stuck in the Matrix. Hey, that's going to do it for tonight's broadcast. The InfoWars Nightly News will return, Lord willing, tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, Texas time, that is. Until then, have a blessed evening, and we'll see you back right here tomorrow night. See ya.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
You are watching the InfoWars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.